Retargeting campaigns, techniques to recover leads, why leads go dark, and why that's not the end of the story. Most B2B buyers don't book a meeting on the first touch. They'll skim a pricing page, start a demo request, or watch part of a webinar, then disappear while they compare options, loop in stakeholders, or simply get pulled into other priorities. The result is the same. You paid to create intent, but the opportunity slips out of the funnel. This is where retargeting campaigns earn their keep, especially for teams running outbound. Instead of treating no response as a dead end, we treat it as a signal to re-engage with the right message on the right channel at the right time. When retargeting is aligned with an SDR motion, it doesn't compete with your reps, it makes their conversations warmer and their follow-ups more relevant. At SalesHive, we see this pattern constantly across outbound programs for B2B teams using a cold email agency, an outsourced sales team, or a full sales outsourcing partner. Retargeting is the layer that helps you recover leads you already paid to attract, so your pipeline doesn't depend solely on net new clicks and fresh lists. What retargeting means in B2B, beyond ads that follow people around. In a B2B sales context, retargeting is any coordinated effort to re-engage people or accounts that have already interacted with your brand but haven't taken the next step, typically a meeting, demo, or proposal. That can include paid retargeting on LinkedIn or Google, behavior-triggered email sequences, and SDR outreach triggered by intent signals like repeated pricing page visits or ad engagement. The point is simple. You're not talking to strangers. You're following up with warm prospects. That warmth shows up in performance. Retargeted visitors are reported to be about 70% more likely to convert than non-retargeted visitors, which is why retargeting is often one of the highest ROI levers for recovering maybe later accounts. And because those people already recognize your brand, retargeting ads can average around 0.77% click-through rate versus 0.05% for standard display, roughly a 10x engagement lift. The economics can be just as compelling for teams watching CAC closely. Reported benchmarks show retargeting can deliver about 50% lower cost per lead than other digital channels, which means your B2B sales agency or in-house SDR team gets more qualified at-bats from the same budget. In practice, that's how you stop paying repeatedly for the same interest and start converting it into meetings. The recovery stack: LinkedIn, Google, email, and SDR follow-up. Most B2B teams recover the most leads when they combine 4 channels into one system: LinkedIn retargeting for high-fidelity professional targeting, Google remarketing for broad reach and recapturing search intent, triggered email for timely follow-up, and SDR outreach as the human layer that turns attention into a conversation. If you're running B2B cold calling services or an outbound sales agency motion, this stack is what keeps your outbound traffic from evaporating after the first visit. LinkedIn is often the centerpiece because it maps closely to buying roles, and it's where many teams place a significant share of spend. LinkedIn retargeting has been reported to increase click-through rate by about 30% and reduce cost per conversion by about 14%, which matters when CPMs are premium. It's also a channel where ABM-style matched audiences can stay tightly aligned to your ICP and the exact accounts your cold callers are working. To make the channel choices practical, we like to frame them by what signal happened and what response fits that moment. This part is where most teams either win or waste spend. Implementation that actually recovers leads, not just impressions. The fastest way to waste retargeting budget is to build one giant audience called all website visitors and blast a generic demo ad at it. The fix is intent-based segmentation. Group people by what they did and how close they are to a sales conversation. Pricing and integration visitors are not the same as blog readers, and webinar no-shows need a different path than demo form abandoners. Email recovery flows are one of the most reliable second chances because they hit quickly after the signal. Well-run recovery sequences commonly see open rates around 50.5%, click rates around 6.25%, and conversions in the 3% to 7.7% plus range, which is why triggered follow-up is so often the difference between ghosted and booked. In B2B, we translate that into simple, timely nudges. Want us to tailor a quick benchmark? Or do you want the recording plus a 2-minute summary for your team? The last step is operational. Route engagement back to sales so SDRs can act on it. When your CRM shows ad clicks, landing page revisits, or email engagement, you can trigger a prioritized call block or a short, personalized sequence from your cold calling team. This is where a strong SDR agency approach pays off. Ads warm the room, but a well-timed human follow-up closes the loop. Retargeting works best when it doesn't try to replace sales. It gives sales a reason to reach out that feels timely, relevant, and earned. Best practices: frequency, creative, and sales alignment. Start with guardrails that protect both performance and your brand. Frequency caps matter because B2B audiences are smaller and more identifiable. If you overserve ads, you'll create fatigue, drive down CTR, and invite negative feedback. A practical starting point is to keep exposure tight and rotate creative so the same person doesn't see the same message repeatedly for weeks. Creative should match intent, not your internal org chart. Pricing visitors want proof, ROI math, outcomes, specific customer stories, while early-stage visitors need clarity, differentiation, and a reason to trust you. The simplest mistake we see is skipping the bridge content, trying to force a meeting immediately when the prospect still needs context. Instead, use a short sequence of messages that moves from relevance to credibility to a clear call to action. Most importantly, retargeting should be planned with SDR execution in mind. Your cold email agency or cold calling services provider should know what ads are running, what offers are being promoted, and what behavior qualifies as hot. When sales and marketing share the same segments and definitions, you get fewer wasted touches and more "I saw that" conversations that convert. Common mistakes and how to fix them without blowing up the funnel. The most common failure mode is optimizing for clicks instead of pipeline. Retargeting can look great in platform dashboards while producing low-quality form fills that SDRs can't convert. The fix is measurement discipline. Connect audiences to CRM outcomes and report cost per meeting, cost per opportunity, and pipeline influenced, especially for pay-per-appointment lead generation goals. Another mistake is ignoring privacy and consent realities. Regulations like GDPR and CCPA and the broader trend toward tighter tracking mean you need clean consent language, transparent policies, and compliant handling of cookies and matched audiences. Practically, that means focusing retargeting on legitimate engagement signals, minimizing unnecessary data collection, and aligning with legal and marketing ops before you upload lists or build lookalikes. Finally, teams often underinvest in the handoff between marketing engagement and sales action. If SDRs don't see which asset was consumed or which ad was clicked, outreach becomes generic again and the advantage disappears. Whether you hire SDRs internally or work with an outsourced B2B sales partner, the playbook should specify exactly what happens after each meaningful signal. No signal, no context, no conversion. Optimization: how to improve conversion without increasing spend. Once the basics are live, optimization is mostly about smart experimentation, not constant reinvention. Test one variable at a time: audience definition, offer, landing page, or creative angle, and keep a control running so you can see true lift. Because retargeting can be materially more efficient, small gains compound quickly when you're already benefiting from lower CPL benchmarks like 50% below other channels. LinkedIn deserves special rigor because it often carries a large share of B2B paid budgets, reported at roughly 39% for many teams. That makes attribution and audience hygiene non-negotiable. Exclude customers, exclude already booked meetings, separate employees, and keep intent tiers distinct. When you do, you can preserve efficiency while still getting the lift LinkedIn retargeting is known for. On the sales side, treat engagement as prioritization fuel for your outbound sales agency motion. When an account is exposed to retargeting and then revisits key pages, increase SDR touches and tailor them to the exact problem the prospect is exploring. Over time, this is how you turn random follow-up into a repeatable system that consistently recovers stalled deals and reactivates dormant leads. Next steps: building a retargeting-friendly outbound engine with SalesHive. If you want retargeting to recover leads reliably, start by defining the few behaviors that actually correlate with revenue in your funnel: pricing visits, demo intent, high-fit content consumption, and re-engagement after silence. Then, build a simple set of audiences and messages around those behaviors and tie each one to a clear SDR action. This keeps the program focused and prevents campaign sprawl that looks busy but doesn't drive meetings. This is also where SalesHive fits naturally for teams that want a cohesive outbound system. As a sales development agency, we help design Outbound that generates clean intent signals, driving prospects to the right landing pages, offers, and content so your retargeting audiences are accurate and actionable. We've booked 100,000 plus meetings for 1,500 plus B2B clients, and we've seen how a tight loop between ads, email nurture, and SDR follow-up improves connect rates and meeting quality. Whether you're comparing cold calling companies, evaluating sales outsourcing, or trying to scale B2B cold calling services without hiring a full internal team, the goal is the same: recover the leads you've already earned. If you want to test this motion without locking in a long commitment, our model is designed for fast iteration, so you can prove impact, refine segments, and build a healthier pipeline before you scale spend. You can learn more about our approach at saleshive.com, including what teams often ask about SalesHive pricing, SalesHive reviews, and SalesHive careers as they evaluate long-term growth.